Hi everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. It is that time of the month once again where we have a new rotation of the Hydra. This is Hydra rotation 4, and this is incredibly difficult. This is by far the hardest one. In fact, as you can see, we actually have a bunch of brand new difficulties in here. I'm going to be showing you stage 8049001 name difficulty in today's video. Obviously, that's normal difficulty with epic only teams. So I've got two teams to show you. The second team you're going to see, I've called it the Sneaky Tricks team. The Sneaky Tricks team. Now, we've got one legendary in there, but you'll see why it's there when we get there. This is the first team I want to show you, though, and this team is the team that I've tried it out, and this easily gets a 1 key. We're pretty much bringing in the all-stars, right? These are the all-star epics, the best of the best epics, pretty much, that can take this on. So first of all, who do we have in here? We have Ugo coming in. Ugo is going to give us block buffs AoE with decreased defense AoE, leech on the A1, healing, removing debuffs on our A3. So Ugo is amazing. And as you can see, why is this rotation so hard? Look at these heads. These are by far the 4 worst heads. The 4 worst ones. Head of Blight, who's coming in and removing all debuffs and boosting their turn meter. Head of Decay. The Head of Blight is putting Poison Cloud on all of them, making us unable to actually hit them. We've got Head of Mischief in here as well. Like, this is the nasty trifecta who's going to be stealing our buffs, stealing our turn meter, spreading those buffs around the heads. And then we've got the Head of Wrath as well, who just smacks really hard. And the reason this is so hard is that with him removing these debuffs, it's very hard to actually lock down Head of Mischief. Even if you bring in a Hex, it's hard to lock him down, all the rest. We'll see how this team goes for the first bit. So we're going to do this with him. Let's just smack Head of Blight. So we're going to be targeting Head of Blight most of the time with Rian the Conjurer. Rian the Conjurer comes in and has an AoE buff strip. So the buff stripping for Rian is going to help us to take off, like, increase attack, all that sort of stuff. We're going to A1 here with Geomancer. We'll talk about him when we come back. We have Ursula the Mourner. She's coming in. She gives us increased attack, puts decreased attack on the enemy. She also gives us increased defense and strengthen. So she's giving us these really powerful buffs that will help us survive through the damage onslaught coming at us from these heads. We then have Godseeker Iniri. She's going to extend our buffs, and she's also going to bring us another source of revival. Ursula can do it too. Godseeker's a backup revive. And then Royal Guard is in here for damage. Now, Royal Guard is actually pretty replaceable. You could definitely replace Royal Guard. Takedown is going to come in. It does a smack. Obviously, because this is only normal difficulty, it's not going to smack quite as hard as it does on the higher difficulty. So really, any damage dealer, your best damage dealer, will work. In my case, he is my best epic damage dealer. I don't have others built up, so that's just where we're at. He might actually put the Ward of Decay, the Rotten Ward, onto Head of Mischief here, and that's fine. So Rian's going to come in, and this is why we save Sweeping Dismissal. Rian also brings us a revive, by the way, so we've got a ton of safety here. Rian's going to come in, removes that increased attack. That's going to save us a lot of hassle. Let's put it like that. It's going to save us an awful lot of hassle. Okay, there we go. The life barrier goes on. The Rotten Ward goes on to Head of Mischief. That's fine. And yeah, okay. So we're coming back around to our turns. There's really no point in doing this because none of it's actually going to hit. So we're going to smack the Head of Blight once again. And this team is going to start getting rolling soon. We could attempt to hit him with our A1. We don't. We still get a weak hit. We just have to basically wait out this Poison Cloud is the unfortunate truth. You're just waiting out the Poison Cloud. So what we're going to do actually at this point is we're just going to burn the Head of Blight, start trying to get him down. And because he's now burned, Geomancer can put the burn on anyone. We can now actually start targeting him. We're going to do the Maelstrom Rack from Ugo, get that block buffs, especially on Head of Wrath, stop him from getting the buffs that he wants to get. And we'll try to get a slow on Head of Mischief. We did. That's going to help us as well. We do get some buffs on this guy, but it's not a huge deal. Get decreased attack across all these heads to help us stay alive and in the game. We're happy with that. And I don't think we actually need to block his buffs, but we can attempt to. There we go. Block buffs is on him as well. And yeah, then we can just do some A1s with Geomancer. And that's basically it, right? You can see the damage is starting to come through. We are staying alive. You see, there's a lot of damage coming in, though. It's hard to actually sustain through this. We're going to use Ugo's Brew, which removes some of those debuffs and keeps her healthy, which is awesome. It's going to be hard to actually hit this guy. We're going to try. Okay, we didn't get it that time. That's all right, though. It's going to be difficult to kill Head of Mischief. We're mostly going to ignore him, to be honest. It's not worth really trying to attack him. Do they have any stuff coming in soon? Not really, so we are going to actually remove these buffs, and yeah, we'll just keep going here. He's going to cleanse his team in a second, so you're going to want to play around that, right? Sort of be waiting for it, watching for it. I'm just trying to get as much damage as I can on Head of Mischief to see if we can stun him. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. We're just not having that luck, but that's okay. Okay, we get eaten by this guy, and that is just fine. We're going to switch our target over to Head of Blight, and yeah, this is basically how the team works, right? It's basically how it works. So they've been cleansed. Let's put that burn back on Head of Blight and just try take him down. There we go. Put block buffs on him. We want to make sure to get block buffs now across the enemy team. Unfortunately, his counterattack didn't land it for the next turn. There we go. We break free. Good. And good timing. Block buff comes out before he spreads that around, which is what we want to see. Going to increase our defense. Lovely. And we have that block buff's AoE is out now for this next rotation of the Poison Cloud, which is what you want. We obviously have a backup buff steal from Geomancer as well with the A2 Creeping Petrify. But yeah, I mean, that's basically how the composition works. Like, that's it, really. It doesn't get any much more complicated than that. We're just going to be doing this, but you can see it's not a smooth ride by any means. This is not a smooth ride. Like, there's a lot of damage coming in. It's pretty scary. Bam, we nuke them down. But this is what I found to be the most effective thing, where unfortunately we don't have too much to deal with the Poison Cloud, but we have just about enough. So that run, as you can see, that is actually a great team. You're going to get through no problem. But it's quite specific on these particular characters. Some replacements, so Geomancer is pretty much irreplaceable, but some potential replacements you could bring in. So something like, let's take him out, something like a Mordecai could come in instead. Mordecai is going to give you AoE HP burn that goes through that Poison Cloud. So you could bring in Mordecai and he would do the job. Nice thing that Geomancer brings that Mordecai doesn't is a chance to put on that decrease accuracy, which can really mitigate the buff stealing of that Head of Mischief. So you could bring in him. With Ugo, you could take her out. You could bring in someone like Umbral Enchantress, so a different block buffs champion. Obviously, you bring in Umbral, though, you're going to lose out on the leeches, you're going to lose out on a bit of cleansing and healing that Ugo does, and you're going to lose out on that decreased defense, which is actually going to make it pretty hard to get up to the damage numbers that you need, because you get blocked so often by the Poison Cloud, stuff like that. But if you've got a really good damage dealer that can slam damage into a decapitated head, then you might be okay. So that's an alternative. For Godseeker, we're really looking for someone that can extend buffs and heal. Something like a Demitha would be good. Just someone that does big healing. I also think something like a Skytouch Shaman could be good. Your best healer, basically. Someone that's going to keep you alive, keep you going. Actually, Rector Drath would be another really good option, a really good alternative. Ursula the Mourner, increased defense and strengthen. She's basically in there to give us that survivability that we don't get one shot by Head of Wrath. So something along the lines of a shielding champ like Melga could be a very good option, right? Melga comes in, Melga gives you a nice shield and also heals. She has some backup revive, so Melga would be very good. Rector Drath, by the way, does have a single target revive. She does have an AoE heal with Perfect Veil, and Perfect Veil gives you 15% damage reduction. Oh, also worth mentioning, Rector Drath does give you more resistance when you're under those veils. So again, another thing that will help with Head of Mischief. So that's a good alternative. Rian the Conjurer, Madame Ceres. I don't actually have Madame Ceres, so I can't put her in instead, but Madame Ceres could go in there. I'll put in Cythalia instead. So someone who's going to basically remove buffs from the enemy. That's basically what Rian's in there for. And obviously bringing Weaken also ups your damage too, which is nice. And then Royal Guard, I mean, honestly, it could be really anything. You're looking for any sort of damage dealer. Like Husk is the same sort of deal. You could even bring in something like Archmage Helmet, could be an okay option, right? He's not strictly a damage dealer, but he does decent damage. He's got this AoE attack. He increases your speed, crit rate, crit damage. He could work. He could be okay. I mean, Akoth the Seared is an okay option as well with AoE HP burn, and he does decent AoE hits. Or obviously then if you've got any good damage dealer in the legendaries, like a Lord Shazar or Yannicka from the clan shop, anything like that, you can put them in. Ninja is obviously your MVP. If you've got Ninja, you're going to smash this key. In the epics, I don't know, something like a Boro, Inquisitor Shamail would work as well. Basically anything that's going to do big damage, and especially something that can slam damage into a decapitated head is going to do the job. So there you go. There's some ideas for that. Now let me show you the sneaky team. So a couple of interesting tactics that you can do with this one. So what have we got going on here? In fact, let me just jump right into this run and let me show you. So we've got a couple of fun combos. A couple of fun combos at this one. Is it the right team? It is the right team. Okay, so first of all, we've got Demitha. She's in to keep everyone alive, and she's also in to extend buffs, so that's part of it. So here's fun combo number one. It's going to be a block buffs debuffer AoE, like Umbral Enchantress, right? Block buffs with Stagnite, or alternatively, anyone that can place a single target decreased speed. Now, we need this to land. It's not guaranteed, but he can potentially put decreased speed. There we go. Now, watch what happens when we come around is basically, if your Stagnite or whoever is going to put decreased speed is faster, you might have to up their speed a little bit to make sure they're fast enough. But if they're fast enough, they can put decreased speed on head of Decay, and it's going to slow Head of Decay down enough that the Head of Blight will go first. Right? So Head of Blight goes first. He tries to put Poison Cloud on, and that block buffs we put on is going to block Poison Cloud, and then the Head of Decay is going to come in and he's going to cleanse. The difference between them going in that order means that, you know, if Head of Decay goes first, he cleanses block buffs, and then the Poison Cloud goes on, whereas if he goes first, it gets blocked, he cleanses, and then they're sat there, yeah, block buffs is gone, but so is Poison Cloud. So that's one thing. You're going to see that in a second. Now, the other big thing we've got going on here is Head of Mischief baiting. We are going to bait the Head of Mischief. He always attacks the enemy with the most buffs. So what I have here, this is an epic called Vergis, and he has this ability called Aegis, right? Puts a 15% continuous heal buff, a 30% increased speed buff, and a 30% reflect damage buff on a target ally for 3 turns. So he stacks 3 entire buffs on a specific ally. He also puts out ally protection as well. That's fine. But look at this. Boom, boom, boom. And look, right now, what is happening is that the Head of Mischief, he is always going to be targeting whoever I choose to be the target of Aegis. On auto, I believe it always puts it on your leader, the person in the lead position. But if you're playing manual, you can put it on anyone that you want. So we'll just, yeah, slam out an AoE hit here with Drexthar. Drexthar then is my Mischief tank. And what have I done with him? Basically, Drexthar, you need them to be slow. So this is the issue. Okay, and this is why I had to put Drexthar in for me. The qualities that you want in your tank of Head of Mischief, you want to have very high resistance. That is the #1 thing, because the idea is that Head of Mischief always hits them, but they're going to have so much resistance, he can't do anything. For normal, it's actually really hard. For normal, you want a minimum of 330 resistance, and you'd really rather have more. My Drexthar is around about 400 right now, so you want that. You also want your tank, if you are using Vergis, right? You want this guy, your tank Mischief tank, to be very slow, because Vergis gives them increased speed. So for example, if my Drexthar is 150 speed and I give him 30% more speed, he shoots up to 200 speed. So he gets really fast. If he sat at like 200 speed, and everyone else in your team is 200 speed, he's going to jump up like to what? Something like almost 270 speed. He's going to become way faster. And then if he is faster, he's going to outrun those buffs, which is a bad thing. Now, we've got Demitha in here as well as a sneaky extra thing, because she can extend our buffs. So she's going to make this more forgiving. And boom, here we come. You see right there? Head of Mischief, he attacks Drexthar because he has got the most buffs. Drexthar resists the turn meter steal, he resists the buff steal, and because he's Drexthar, his passive is that he puts a burn onto that Head of Mischief. So he's going to start burning people as well, which is a really sneaky thing. My Drexthar is not booked, but that is okay. We'll smack this head. We're going to try to get Head of Decay to put, yeah, there we go. That's what we want. That's the easiest one to deal with. And now we can just start smacking pretty much whatever. Oh, right there, he actually stole them. So we got unlucky right there. So there is always a chance that you can steal. He can still steal them. So I think now we're in trouble, unfortunately. Now we'd have to restart the run. So this is not quite flawless. We have some backup here. There we go. We've got some buff stripping with her. That's going to help a bit. We got a weak hit on him. So I'm very scared of this head right here. Hopefully we do survive. We shall see. So you can get unlucky. This is the downside of this strategy. The other big downside is obviously... if Drexthar gets eaten, you're going to be in trouble. So they did get some nasty buffs out, but we can live with that. We can live with that. We're going to be careful. We don't have much damage on this team, so we can be okay. The main thing I'm worried about is he's going to come around and steal our stuff again. Actually, we got block buffs, so we're going to be fine this time. Big nuke comes out. Pretty scary stuff. We do have, I didn't talk about her yet, but we have, what's her face? Sandlash Survivors in here. She has this passive, puts ally protection on everyone when their health drops low and puts block damage on her. She can also extend our buffs and decrease enemy buffs. So she's going to help us sort of stay in the game as well. She's going to protect us from some of these big hits. So that's another sort of sneaky thing. We're going to put decreased speed back on this jerk. Didn't quite land. That's okay. Demytha is going to heal everyone up like crazy. Get those buffs back on him so he starts tanking again. There we go, and the resistance comes in. So there's always, I believe, like I'm not sure, like the more resistance you stack, the more you shrink that potential that he does steal some buffs. But you can recover, even if he steals them every now and then. As you can see, you can recover from it. You can survive it, especially if you're bringing in someone with block buffs. And obviously we have Sandlash, who can reduce their buffs a little bit, which helps as well. Try to get decreased speed back on this guy. There we go. Right, and yeah, this is sort of how this works. I don't think this is going to be a one-key team. Like, I only have a level 50 Stag Knight, so it's going to be hard to keep him alive. Again, we can see him doing his job right there. Resist the turn meter steal, resist everything. And also, you know, let's try get HP burn onto this head. There we go. There we go. And he just keeps putting burn onto Mischief as well, which is really, really nice. So he's doing a few good things for us. Yeah, the only downside here is that Stag Knight does tend to miss quite a lot of the decrease attack onto this head because he's the wrong affinity this week. So this is not going to be a super consistent team. You're going to have to redo the fight probably a few times just to make sure that everything works and comes together. But the purpose was to basically just show you a few ideas. So here we go. We're back around to block buffs. So we've got block buffs on now. I'm actually going to smack him first. Try to get decreased speed. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. And he should put the decreased defense back on this guy. We're going to reapply our buffs to him. And smack, he's going to trigger his thing. And you can see this is where my team falls apart a bit. Like, my Stag Knight is super squishy because he's only level 50 and he's not geared for this. And then the extra damage he takes is going to translate into more damage onto things like Vergis and stuff like that. So we do have to definitely be scared of it. But the point is to basically show you some concepts for the sort of thing that can work, right? So this particular setup is probably not good enough, in fact, to one key, but it's just to show you these are some of the ideas that you can use. So again, specifically what you would be looking for, like he has 430 resistance. We got very unlucky that the Head of Mischief actually managed to land something. But the more resistance you can get, the better off you are. And he's actually too quick, right? He's actually too quick. He's going to outspeed Vergis, right, with that increased speed, which has meant that I needed to bring in a buff extender over here. I need to bring in another buff extender over here just to try to make sure that Drexthar's buffs are always on. There are other alternatives to Vergis. I'll talk about those in another video, though. This one's long enough. And really, there's any champion really works instead of Drexthar. Drexthar's just a convenient one. Mine's not booked because he can put on HP burns when he's hit. So he's a really convenient one. You get him guaranteed champion from the Bazaar. He's not even geared that well or anything. But you'd want them really to be lower speed. It's any champion. Just slap them in like a resistance chest. You put them in HP percent boots, HP percent gloves, whatever. A bunch of, like, just a resistance banner, a resistance chest, put them in resist gear if you have it, all that sort of stuff. And really anyone can work. You're specifically looking for champions that don't need like accuracy or speed or to take turns to do their job. So pretty much anyone you have that can do that. There's lots of options. It's mostly just a really specific build that you might not use for anywhere else. So yeah, that's this sort of thing. Stag Knight, his speed for normal, by the way, he has about 212 speed, so the speed to pull off this spot quarry thing, right, decreasing speed and letting your block buffs person block that first poison cloud, that's actually not that intensive. Funny enough, as you probably noticed, because Drexthar is going to put burns on everything when they're AoE attacking, you actually don't need to do this cheese strategy when you've got these two things in tandem, in combo. You don't actually need to do it because they're going to attack you and Drexthar is going to burn them, and then you can hit them through the poison cloud anyway. So that would be one thing you could switch up with this team. But yeah, there you go. A few different ideas. So some sneaky tricks, right? Sneaky tricks, getting that Head of Mischief to target someone with high resistance, you know, extending buffs if you need to make sure that they always have the most buffs, so it's always going to be targeted. You can do a decreased speed thing with block buffs to stop that first poison cloud and to get a bit more control over the poison cloud, and use that decreased speed debuff to make sure that, you know, the poison cloud and the cleanse are never going to quite line up, that you can play around it. And yeah, a few different things, guys. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope you found some useful tips in there, got some good ideas for what you can do yourself. Obviously, I'm going to be revisiting all of this stuff and looking at harder difficulties, right? So that's my next big task is going to be, okay, oh, admittedly, we did bring in Drexthar as a legendary here because he was the only one I actually had that was, you know, high enough resistance and slow enough. I think that, you know, Skytouch Shaman would be another good example of someone who could work well, but you tend to build her really fast. Mine is like 280 speed or something, so it wouldn't work. But yeah, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do like a 1-key hard team when we're allowed to. I'll let myself bring in legendaries for that. Fairly accessible ones, hopefully, and we'll see if we can get that 1-key hard locked down. So guys, thank you for watching. I hope that you did enjoy, and I will see you next time. Actually, no, we're not going to be in hard. It's going to be stage 8049002 name. So I'll see you for that, guys. Thanks, and have a good one. Bye-bye.